I was scrolling online and stumbled across this insanely cool 3DS kiosk. And immediately I thought, yep, I need that in the Quackade. Welcome to Project Quackade. This is going to be a super chill video where I show you how I modeled this 3DS kiosk. This is probably going to be like a part 1 of part 2. Part 2 is going to be the actual build, so it's going to be a lot more chaotic, and it's probably going to be more interesting than this. But if you're interested in the 3D modeling process, or if you like the sound of my voice, then stick around. The 3DS is my favorite Nintendo console, so this has to be the first kiosk that I build. Plus, my Nintendo Switch kiosk is feeling lonely. I mean, Quacktendo Switch. While building this 3DS kiosk, I have two main objectives. The first objective is that I want it to look and feel exactly like the real deal. That means every visible part is modeled at true 1:1 scale. The lights, the demo 3DS, even the screen that loops trailers. Everything should work just like the actual kiosk. The second objective is I want this entire thing to be 3D printed. The only exceptions would be screws, wooden dowels, and some acrylic pieces. And the reason is simple. I want this to be a design I can share with all of you, so you can print your own full-size 3DS kiosk one day. My first step was to find as many pictures of this kiosk as I possibly could. That's when I discovered something interesting. This kiosk is actually exclusive to the EU. Some versions even have these side shelves and a paper backdrop with game details on it. While digging around, I found a post on the r/3ds subreddit from someone named Muff2, who had posted his own kiosk a few years back. I reached out and he was incredibly kind enough to send me detailed measurements of his entire unit. Huge shout out to him, because I couldn't have made the blueprints without his help, and he wouldn't even let me pay him for his services. Moving on, I came across this French YouTube channel called Furlough59, who uploaded a petite presentation of his kiosk. That video was perfect. It showed me exactly how the back panel and the shelves work. I'm going to be looking back at this video a lot. So after gathering all my references, it was finally time to start cooking. I'm using a 3D modeling program called 3ds Max. It's my go-to software, so you'll probably see it a lot in this channel. Alright, let's start by making a plane and dropping our reference photo. This is mainly so I can eyeball certain parts if we need to. I'm starting with the main body. To do that, I'm just creating a really tall box. The top has that slight downward angle, so let's add that. Nice, it's coming together. Now let's soften these edges using the chamfer tool. This gives everything those nice rounded corners. Oh yeah. Look at those curves. Now I'm going to hollow out the main body. And of course, I need a giant rectangular hole where the window is going to go. So I'll make a box in the exact shape. To cut it out, I'm using a very useful tool called Pro Boolean. Basically, it removes one object from another to create holes or cutouts. If you ever use this tool for yourself, be warned. Pro Boolean can cause a lot of issues. But since I'm obviously an expert, we should be fine, right? Now that we've got a giant hole in the front, I'm going to make another opening at the top so the window can slide down into place. And I'm actually adding a second slot behind it. That one will hold a diffuser panel for the internal lighting. Pro Boolean again, and looks good. Now the window can slide down like this. Let me just make a few adjustments here. I want to make sure the panel stops at the right point and doesn't just fall straight through. Now let's make a hole in the back so we can access wires and everything inside. Pro Boolean again. Perfect. Now we've got space for a door or a panel to sit on this opening. Alright, things are about to get interesting. We're moving on to the top part. I've got this piece that matches the shape of the main body. And it's going to slide down right on top. I'll scale it down so it fits nice and snug. Now let's set up another plane for our reference photo. Okay, let's get this thing dialed in. Next, I'm making 2 boxes for these square sections here. And now, it's neck time. I need to cut a hole for it. Pro Boolean again. Something about that tool is just so satisfying. Honestly, you might need a Pro Boolean counter at this point. I think we're at 4. Alright, here's the actual neck. It needs to be hollow so the wires can run through it. And sweet, looking good. Alright, now I'm tackling the bottom part of this blue thing. This is where I have to lock in and go full engineer mode. And here's what I came up with. Looks good on screen, but we won't really know until it's printed. Oh, and I need to add some stops so the panel doesn't slide too far down. I'll just make a little box and attach it to the main body. Nice. Alright, we are ready for the top panel. I whipped this one up real quick using the other blue piece. Now let's grab that yellow box that we saved earlier. We're going to use it to cut a window in the top panel so we can slide a piece of paper behind it. You know what's coming next, right? Yep, Pro Boolean time. Alright, let's make a little opening for the paper. Nice, that should give it enough space to slide down from the top. I'm going to change the color of the top panel to red just for demonstration. Looking pretty good. But don't get too excited, we're still far from done. Before we move on, let's tackle the base. This part should be pretty straightforward. I'm using this photo as reference to figure out the curve. Yep, that looks about right. There's also a nice chamfer here, which is perfect so I don't stub my toe. And I'll add a little support piece inside the main body to make the whole kiosk as sturdy as possible. I'm gonna hollow this part out too, save some filament. You know how it is. Sweet, the base is all done. Now the main body can sit on top like this. Alright, moving on. Let's make this giant backing for the kiosk. Now I have to start eyeballing things a bit since I don't have the exact measurements. And of course, everything starts with a box. Honestly, that should be my motto here at Project Walkade. Anyway, let's chamfer those edges. Alright, next up, this weird zigzaggy thing. Shouldn't be too hard. Let's smooth out those edges. Now we need a hole for the screen behind it. Make a box. And yep, Pro Boolean time. Sweet. Next, let's make this part so the back kind of hugs the main body. And now, the shelves. There are 6 of these in total. Honestly, I have no idea what they're originally for, but I'm planning to use them for my 3DS game cases and boxes. I'm gonna extrude this piece since it needs to be screwed into the back. We'll add all the screw holes at the very end. Smooth out those edges again. Careful, these could probably stab you. Now we use symmetry to mirror it on both sides. Looking good. I'll add small panels underneath the shells to make them sturdier. They're pretty thin, so they need to actually hold some weight. Alright, last thing for the back, this frame piece. Let's start with the box. Using this as a reference. Smooth the edges like so. Perfect. Now let's make the opening so the paper can slide down the frame. Beautiful. There are 2 of these, so let's duplicate it and place it where it belongs. Oh, I should probably add a hole in the back. There we go. In the final build, we'll be able to cover this nicely. I can't believe it. We're almost done. Just a little bit more, so hang in there. And hey, if you made it this far in the video, drop a comment. Let me know what your favorite 3DS game is. Alright, let's tackle all this craziness here. Of course, we'll start with a simple box and just plop it on top. Smooth those edges. Nice. This part is kind of like a tray, where another box will be screwed inside, so let's hollow this out. Perfect. Here's the box that will sit inside that tray. I'll make sure it fits and change the color so it's easier to see. Nice, it goes in just like that. Let's smooth those edges too. Actually, there's another box that sits on top of that, where the 3DS system will live. It has these ridges on the side and bottom, so let's make those. Cool. And smooth out the edges. Absolutely stunning. Alright, now we need to make the insertion for the 3DS stylus. This time we're using cylinders. Yep, not boxes. Crazy, I know. I'll move these into place so we can Pro Boolean them into this purple box. Okay, now let's smooth out those edges. Cool, time for Pro Boolean. 1, 2, 3. Awesome. Now clean up the edges for a nice smooth finish. All done. The stylus should fit snugly in there. Let's angle this whole thing down. Okay, I just realized the neck isn't supposed to go straight up. It needs to be at an angle. Let's just fix that real quick. Now I'm making the top part of the neck that will connect to this green tray. I'll probably have to glue them together. Next, we need a hole in the tray for the neck to pass through. I'm gonna Pro Boolean it using the clone of the neck. Perfect. Nice, all the parts are done. Here's how it should go together. First this big piece, then the top panel, then the neck, the tray, the box for the stylus, and finally the box where the 3DS will sit. Oh, and we can't forget, we need to make a hole for the 3DS wire to go through. I need to make something for my monitor to sit on. I'm using this Wise Coco 7-inch monitor, so I modeled this part specifically for it. If you're planning to print this, either get the same monitor or adjust this piece if you know your way around 3D modeling. Next, I'm making a little channel for the wires to go through from the monitor into the main pole. And this is what I'll use with Pro Boolean to cut that hole. Nice. Now the monitor should slide right in there perfectly. The final model is complete, but we're not done yet. There are a few more steps to get it print ready. First up, slicing the model into pieces that will actually fit on the 3D printer's build plate. You have to be smart about this and think about print orientation to make sure you get good quality prints. This gray cube here represents the size of my printer's build plate. I'm using it as a reference so I know how many parts each piece needs to be split into. Let's start by splitting the base. This one's easy. We can cleanly split it into 4 parts. Pretty straightforward. I'm using the slice tool, so it actually separates the mesh like this. Next up, the main pole. This one's gonna need 5 parts. Here we go. Easy. Now the back. This thing is huge. So we're talking a whopping 14 pieces. Sheesh. And finally the frame. That one can just be split in half. Okay, now that everything is split and printable, we could technically start printing this bad boy. But I want to do one more thing first. I'm going to add holes for wooden dowels to connect the pieces together. Dowels give amazing structural reinforcement and make sure all the pieces line up correctly without shifting around. So I'm going to place a bunch of cylinders along the edges and Pro Boolean them into holes for the dowels. Give me 1 second. And we're back. all these green cylinders are going to become holes for the wooden dowels. This is what's going to keep the whole thing connected. Honestly, a great method if glue alone isn't enough to hold everything together. Alright, let's start pro bullioning them all. At this point, I've completely lost count of how many cylinders I've used. The pro bullion counter is about to explode. Oh, and I think I'll add a bunch of dowels in this hollow part at the bottom. This will reinforce the connection between the base and the main pole, making everything nice and sturdy. Same thing here. I want the neck and this big piece to stay firmly connected. I know someone's probably going to try to lift the kiosk the wrong way, so this should help reinforce things. Hopefully. Alright, now it's time to make the screw holes. I'm going to be using these threaded inserts. They're pretty cool. You just heat them up and they fit snugly inside the hole so you can screw things in. I'm using an M6 L8 insert, so make sure you get the same if you're building this kiosk. This red cylinder here is roughly the same size as the insert, and we'll use it to pro bullion the holes in the model. I'm placing one here, and one over here. Same on the other side, nice and even. Alright, let's make those holes. For this big blue piece, I'm just going to cut a really long hole for the inserts. This gives extra space for the melted plastic when you insert them. And of course, room for the screw itself. Last up, the screw holes on this top part. I'll put one here, and one here. And same goes for the back. And now, the final pro bullions for the video. Nice! We're done. Here's what it looks like from the bottom. You can see all the holes ready for the inserts. Perfect. Wow, it's finally done. Now we're ready to start printing all the parts. Fair warning though, nothing in this video is final. I might print a piece and realize it doesn't fit, or it's structurally terrible. That's when I'll go back and tweak the model. Once I actually build it and make sure everything works perfect, I'll release the 3D models so all of you can print them too. But trust me, part 2 is gonna be next level. Seeing this kiosk come to life with the lights and the screen and the 3DS, it's gonna be insane. Here's a little sneak peek for part 2. Shout out to my 3 subscribers. I see you. Let me know if you like these types of videos where I talk through the modeling process, or if I should just skip straight to the building part. Your support keeps me making crazy projects like these. Thanks for watching guys, I'll catch you in the next video, and have a quacktastic day.